Welcome to Let's Talk Boobs. This is still hard on you conversations, but round 2. So this round is going to get a little bit more tense. We'll dig a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about like when you are in a relationship and you're starting to move forward in those big steps, like moving in together, then you have to delegate chores and everything like that. But
wait. You delegate chores?
Yeah. Anyways, we'll get into that for a second. But in our new rebranding of doing the rounds, we do another shot for each round. So then,
Woohoo!
so then it gets a little saucier during each round. You can see in the intensity and the questions and the topics, the saucier get, probably the more we'll talk about.
I start twitching. And
So our cheers is long walks and awkward talks lead to overthinking and too much drinking.
Oh my God.
Again, that was the Boilermaker.
Oh, yeah,
I used to do that dumb shit in college, and now I know I don't do it anymore. Also, guys, we have drinking games throughout our podcast. So if you ever see a pussycat go up and down those stairs, drink. Or if we throw a squirrel when we get off topic, drink.
And if you do these things, you will get hammered.
You'll be probably in the same mindset as us.
Yeah.
That's why you'll probably start seeing more squirrels in round 3.
Especially if you're drinking the custom cocktails with us.
If you don't drink the custom cocktails with us, you're missing out on some delicious fucking drinks. So make sure you go to the store, get the ingredients, tune in, and enjoy.
I've noticed a few times, like, I want to say something, but I'm keeping from saying it while you're saying something. So, like, if you watch it, I'm like, no, I don't want to. But
round 2, this is the hard on you conversations, and so this is more like if you're in a relationship and you're starting to move forward, the conversations that you have to have, such as like money discussions, how the bills are going to be split up, like how do you go about that? Because I know I was the bread maker and I just like paid the bills and I was like, just give me this amount of money, and I usually paid for most things, like right. I'd pay for most of the groceries or whatever, but we didn't really have a discussion. But me and
that's what I'm saying. I think some people end up just sort of in sort of almost like an involuntary sort of people go, you have like the relationship evolve into responsibilities are picked up by people.
Yeah.
So I think that the idea would be that when somebody who you think has sort of picked up that responsibility isn't doing it, like let's say you're the breadwinner, hypothetical, and somebody else is the person who's doing the mowing the yard, other things. And now if they stop doing those things and you're still the breadwinner, then that becomes the point of contention where how do I have this discussion that I feel like, especially since you haven't delegated it out?
Well, I don't think at that point, first off, I mean, if you're working the same amount of hours, I don't think money has to do with your amount of chores that you have to do.
Oh, no.
Or whether you're doing your chores or not.
Okay, so when you say
I just want to be helped. I want to be helped around the house. So, right. Like, I absolutely fucking hate doing laundry, and I hate taking out the trash. 2 things I absolutely hate doing. I will clean the entire fucking house. I will do the grocery shopping. I will do the cooking. All I need to do is clean my clothes, fold them, and I will put them away and take out the trash.
How do you fold your clothes?
Most of them go on a shelf or a pile.
No. How do you fold your shirts? Do you fold them in half? Do you fold sleeves in?
I do sleeves and then fold and then fold.
Yeah,
like I make them tiny.
Me too. You know what? Somebody, I was having somebody.
Well, good thing I helped you clean your fucking studio here.
I was having somebody doing my laundry before, and when somebody does something for you,
you can't bitch about it.
Yeah, it's hard to. But she would fold them in half,
and like the long,
and they would be in halves though, and I was like, I don't know how this is the most...
like the sleeves you get this way?
I was like, I don't know how that's the most efficient...
How are you supposed to see your fucking graphic?
But that's what I'm saying is I don't think that, it's not the most efficient way because it
takes
space. Up more space.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So also, my husband that I'm separated from, he is a very passive-aggressive person. He doesn't like to he doesn't like to argue.
Right.
And like I can obviously see something's wrong with him. Like he
like you're waiting for him to
explode. He completely does not hide it well, and he thinks he does. And I'm like, just fucking tell me.
Now, does it get to a certain point and he just blows the fuck up?
No, it gets to the point where I finally ask him, and he doesn't blow up, and he's like, he'll finally just talk to me about it. I'm like, if you don't talk to me about it, how am I supposed to change what I'm doing wrong? And then I'm the kind of person, like, I'll tell you right then and there, but if you make me so mad, I need a moment to, like, walk away. Like, I can't, there's a point to where, like, if you keep coming at me, like, other people in different relationships,
I may have seen
friendships,
it before.
Whatever. The other day, but I was also very, very sick. And when I'm sick, I am not in a good mood. I'm not a friendly person when I'm tired. But when I was a teenager, my parents would sit me down on the couch, and they wouldn't let me get up. I'm like, I need to walk away from you right now, or else I'm going to blow up and I'm going to say shit that I don't want to say. And like, I would get up, and my dad would be like, sit down. And then they would talk to me and talk to me and talk to me. And I finally just fucking blew up, and they're like, stop talking. And I was like, nope. And I would just say everything that I could possibly fucking say. And then I would get grounded for like 2 months in that one blow up conversation because they didn't let me go and cool off. And then finally they're like, go to your room. And then 30 minutes later, my mom would be like, do you forgive me now? Are we okay? And I'm like, fuck no, you just grounded for 2 months because you wouldn't let me go cool off. I'm like, no, that's not okay. So, I mean, that's a dating, relationships, anything like that. I think it's good to have that conversation, because I have had that conversation before and be like, you know, when I'm angry, I need you to let me walk away, because I used to be a very, very spiteful person. I've learned to step away from that. My husband I'm separated from, he's actually built me into this person to where I'm not spiteful anymore because I wanted to change for him. So it's actually helped me grow in a good way but there's been some times it's reared its ugly head, maybe twice in 10 years, maybe. I mean, and that it's just a difference of personalities and how people are raised. So, but I think that's a really good idea to communicate that with people, and who you are dating. Because, I mean, you could be completely opposites and you not know that person's going to go blow up. But also, there's a talks, like when you're dating somebody, about like the future on whether you want to take a year off and travel, or you want kids, or you want to get married, because some people don't want to get married, some people don't want kids, some people don't like to travel, or some people aren't as adventurous. So I think it's good to discuss that, to have the same goals in life, especially if like kids and marriage are involved, because those are huge things.
Do you think that the divorce rate is so high because you have people who are younger that they really aren't asking questions? You know what I'm saying? They're more going on this visceral sort of, they get into that, this is my sort of soulmate sort of thing. And then they realize that as someone who isn't necessarily taking 100% care of themselves, they're not an adult. When you're from 18 to 22, 24, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, whether you're at your first job, you haven't been in your career, to where when you get to 35, when you get to 40, where you start to realize that I travel for work. And so it becomes very difficult for me as somebody who's in my mid 40s to have a conversation with a female who's in their mid 40s and be like, well, I might be gone for 3 or 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And they would be like, it's almost a deal breaker every time.
I'd be like, fuck yeah, me time.
Right. But
baths.
But we are both very independent sort of people.
That's true.
Where you have the general relationship is so like, I want them there all the time. I want them, you know.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this sort of situation, I think, when you're younger. You think that and it could be exacerbated by the movie industry of when you watch somebody in the movie, they're like, oh, that's my soulmate. It's going to last forever. But that soulmate, once you go into your career, because, all right, this is going back. You talked, I've read interviews with Madonna, and she's always said that Sean Penn was the love of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was when they were in their like 20s. So
she still feels that way?
Yeah. I've read interviews that she's never felt the same way. So you get that idea of that sort of idyllic sort of
like nostalgia.
But his career and her career, And it's the idea that you think that love will conquer all sort of mentality.
Yeah.
And it's just not true.
Yeah.
You gotta put work in it. You've got to be able to, and the life that you're leading when you're 24 is different than when you're 34. It's different than
100%.
when you're 44.
Mhm.
So to have these relationships,
And
like
your
even
experience as well, and your mindset.
even just friends, like there are people that I was the best of friends, like and people, and you know some of the people that I know, and then you go a few years and you realize that I'm not the same.
Mhm.
They're not the same.
No, you're still an asshole.
You're not, but you're not having these. For me and you to been, I think we've been friends for almost 15 years.
Yeah, I'd say 13 or 14
But
years.
I don't think we've ever been like, we're not demanding on each other.
No, we
Like
actually had our first fight when you moved here.
Right.
Oh,
And
and
then-
then
and-
our second, but then I was just really did not feel good that day.
And the difference being when you work with somebody.
Yeah.
And that was when we started working together.
Yeah.
But
But still, that's not bad.
But it's that idea of, I think that when you're young, and I'm still too, my parents are been married like over 50 years. And so I have this super idyllic version of what marriage would be.
Mhm.
So for me to get married, it would have to be almost on that level.
So another thing is that you need to discuss is cheating and boundaries, because cheating to one person isn't it might not be cheating to somebody else, because
Right.
like I kissed a girl like on a drunken night when this is when me and my husband at the time we were just first dating before we got married, and he found out that I had kissed a girl, and like I didn't think it was a big deal at all. I was so taken aback that he was mad, super mad. Like he was like, "That's cheating." And I was like, I don't have any feelings towards the girl at all.
Right.
Like, it was just drunk making out. And I had to buy him like a chocolate bar in the first season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And then he forgave me. But then I was like, okay, well, now I know. But then we grew to like just making out with the same chick together. So
like if I piss you off, I'm just handing you a chocolate bar.
and some seasons.
Does that work?
It did work for me anyways. But
Nice.
I mean, you have to express those boundaries, because like some people don't think that like texting a person, and that to me, that's emotionally cheating. You know, have I done it in my younger days? Yes. But you know, you have to discuss those boundaries, because.
But don't you think that makes the world of difference in intention? Like to me, okay, so let's say you're an actor and your husband is not an actor, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It's part of the job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's been, which is weird too in the industry, that it so becomes a part of where these people
get upset.
Well, two things, and I could see it. One, the history would lend itself for you to get upset, because there's been so many on-air couples. Tom Cruise, Penelope Cruz, Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt,
Angelina Jolie.
Right. So, and Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, and Angelina Jolie are a perfect example that at some point you can be confident in your relationship.
Yeah.
And then you realize that it all fell apart while they were on set together and became soulmates because of the artistic process.
Yeah.
Of doing whatever. So it's one of those things, but intent on, I think because you are in such a closed off space, for the most part, I like to party every now and again. I know you like to party every now and again. And there's some stuff that maybe I had done while having a significant other that maybe I wouldn't have said anything. Not necessarily to
hide it
from them, but because to me,
it wasn't
a thing.
Yeah, like I didn't tell him. He just like overheard me talking to somebody, and so I didn't think it was a big deal.
Not to say that it's okay out there.
It's not. He was very upset. I should have told him I made out with a chick, but I didn't know.
To me, and it's perception. To me, the same thing would be true. Like I've dated girls, and they're like, "Oh, well, I did," and it's to a degree. Like I got hammered, I got fucked up, and I'll say this honestly, that I've dated girls that they weren't necessarily bi, but they were more hetero with
Flexible. Hetero-flexible.
No, they just partied and they would end up making out with girls.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
hetero-flexible. Mhm.
Like it's so, but that never bothered me. But if I saw them do the same thing with a random guy at
Yeah.
the same party that
Yeah.
I'm at,
Yeah.
then that would be an issue. So many years of my life, let's say that there was a 3-year period where blackout hiney was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, though, that I think that it's necessary to perfect and probably not be in a relationship with
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
because I'm making the same mistakes over
Yeah.
and over because I'm just not remembering anything that I'm doing. But as far as, like, it's one of those curious things, and it really is, I think to a degree, for partiers, people who party don't purposefully make mistakes,
Yeah.
but we will constantly make mistakes.
But we promised you a question from the fishbowl, and I would love.
Are you asking me, or am I asking you?
We both answer.
Oh, I don't ask you one, you ask me one?
We can do that.
I don't know,
What's the shortest time it's ever taken for you to have an orgasm? I'm glad this is a dude. Because a chick, it doesn't matter. You can just keep coming.
It was quick.
How
It was quick.
How quick?
It was real quick. And I told, wait, quickest to have an orgasm from where?
From your penis.
That's not what I meant.
Give me seconds.
All right, hold on.
That's all I need. We don't need to go on a tangent. 3 seconds?
No. Boom!
She blew on it.
She looked at it.
So that's the end of round 2. This one's a little bit longer, but we might add some things to the bonus round. But please like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Subscribe.